It's been a few weeks since Boomsday, and we're here with another arena video. Some of the most popular questions viewers ask in our comments section relate to class selection and playstyle. Because Arena's drafting algorithm can change at any time, a tier list video can become obsolete within a few days. So we'll talk about specific classes and how you should best draft and play them within that week in Boomsday, starting with this one. You've asked us to feature Warrior as the first class spotlight of Boomsday. Now, for the longest time in Arena, Warrior had been the worst class in win rates and popularity. And it makes sense. Warriors have the least impactful hero power because it doesn't affect the board in any way. Unlike Hunters, Armor Up can't be a win condition in Arena. Currently, Warriors are actually in a good position due to two factors: weapons and a flexible toolkit of common class cards. Let's go over key Arena cards for the Warrior class. As discussed in our last video, weapons are extremely strong in this meta. You can often get 2-for-1 value out of them while also protecting your own minions. For Warriors, they get offered a lot of weapons. On average, you can expect about 3 weapons offered per draft as a minimum. After many Warrior runs, our expert Tachii determines that having 4 weapons is the ideal amount you want in any Warrior deck. This gives you the perfect balance of seeing your weapons each game as well as not drawing too many weapons that clutter your hand. One of the only Boomsday cards that was placed in the top bucket is Supercollider, which has also seen play in current standard builds of Odd Control Warrior. This is an incredible card that can potentially offer you 4-for-1 value. Think about that for a minute. A 5-mana card that can destroy 4 other cards your opponent has and is difficult to play around. Once a Warrior plays Supercollider, the opponent will have to change how they play the game. They can no longer drop 2 similar power level minions at the same turn. They will need to have small minions that can be put between bigger minions or play only 1 big minion per turn. These conditions mean that as a Warrior, you're more likely to use your own mana more efficiently by playing more threats on curve than your opponent can. Right now, without enough removals and board clears, playing more threats is the more consistent way to win. Keep in mind that Supercollider just happens to be the best example. Most Warrior weapons exert this pressure that makes your opponent play slower. For example, a Rothy Weaponsmith is one of Warrior's best cards right now, as it's able to give you a weapon and a minion at the same time. Now that we've talked about weapons, what about Warrior's flexible common toolkit? What factors make these cards so good in the arena for Warrior at the moment? For starters, none of these cards are in Warrior's top drafting bucket, so they appear quite often. Warpath is a flexible board clear that can also activate damage effects on your minions. This synergizes very well with other cards such as Frothing Berserker and Battle Rage. Execute is a hard removal spell that's best used against taunt minions or minions that require 3 or more damage to remove it, so don't be too greedy with Execute. If it manages to kill a minion with 3 health, you'll actually be gaining tempo, because most 2-mana removal spells deal 3 damage max. Battle Rage is another premium tool because it's very easy to draw at least 2 cards with it, with a damaged Garrosh also counting for a draw. By using less mana to draw more cards, this gives Warrior a greater edge on critical turns where card draw and mana availability can swing whole games in your favor. Lastly, in addition to common premium spells, Warrior also has strong common minions. Taunts have become much stronger in this meta, and Warriors have Tarlord, Ornery Direhorn, and Gem-Studded Golem. These cards are overstatted and, other than Direhorn, deal virtually no damage. But the lack of removal in the current arena metagame forces your opponent to go through these taunts before it can kill your other more relevant minions. Other than common cards, Boomsday also released 2 premium rare cards: Dinomatic and Omega Assembly. Dinomatic is a strong card right now as it's capable of killing a vanilla 4-drop on curve, as well as 2 to 3 smaller minions that Warriors typically have a problem to efficiently clear. The next card, Omega Assembly, is also incredibly strong after you've reached 10 mana crystals. In most games, you should not be playing this before turn 10 because the amount of value you gain after turn 10 is incredible for just 1 mana. We mentioned having 6 1 to 2 drops in this meta for an early curve, but Warriors don't have to follow this suggestion because of all the big taunts, weapons, and value generators in their toolkit. Let's look at an example 12-win draft. First thing to note, we have 4 different weapons, which is the ideal set of weapons you want. Having 2 small weapons helps you against early game aggression, and 2 bigger weapons helps you against mid-sized threats. Weapons are the highest priority of cards you want in a draft. Next, we have about 4 playable early game minions on turn 1 and 2. At the same time, we have other early game cards that can fight against early game aggression, such as Warpath and Cleave. In terms of curve, it is important to reach at least 5 3-drops, 4 4-drops, and 2 5-drops. With less emphasis on early game, you have to hit your mid-game minions. Your weapons help you against your opponent's mid-game cards, while your minions can chip in damage and curve you into the late game. It's important to have enough, but also not have too many. Lastly, warriors have a lot of late-game cards, such as the big taunts we mentioned. You'll also get offered big neutral taunts such as Giant Mastodon and Sleepy Dragon, which are in really bad buckets that you're forced to take. You're going for at least 5 late-game minions, and you generally don't want more than 8 as it makes your curve way more awkward. The rest of your deck should ideally have cards that affect the board in some way or cheats out tempo. Having 2 to 3 card draws also improves your deck's consistency. Once you have this shell of a curve, the consistency of your deck is a lot better than when you're just taking cards of the highest value. When drafting, look at your existing deck and see if you need a curve card over a high value card. For example, you're at pick 20, but you only have 2 3-drops, so if a premium 3-drop such as Rapid Worgen appears with Furious Etten and Slam, you take the 3-drop to ensure your curve is strong. Let's talk a bit about gameplay. Your win condition as a warrior is to play strong minions on curve, starting from turn 3, and use weapons and more efficient minions to keep your opponent off the board. Another win condition is to simply run your opponent out of resources by using your weapons and late game taunts to exhaust their vanilla minions. Sounds simple enough, but a lot of it comes down to efficient trading and management of your resources. Here are a few pointers to get those 12-win arena runs with warrior. Number 1. If you can value trade a minion into theirs and keep yours alive, you should do that instead of using cards from your hand. Sometimes you only have the option to play your weapon from your hand to kill a minion, but you have to ask if that gives you the most tempo. If your existing minion can already kill their minion for free and you develop a curve minion yourself, that's ideally the strongest play you can make. Always be on the lookout for when your cards can generate a 2-for-1 value. Weapons are fairly straightforward in accomplishing that. Like we discussed, big taunts can also do that. These taunts keep your early minions alive while your opponent is forced to have an answer in their hand or get run over. Avoid drawing cards in the first 6 turns and focus on playing strong minions. Sometimes you can play a little slower and bait them with your weapons and removals later. If you already have a board of, say, 3 minions, you can use your flexible card draws to avoid playing into a board clear. And that wraps up the class spotlight on warriors. If you have any questions or have a suggestion on what class we should talk about next, comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more Tempo Storm Hearthstone Arena content. Thanks for watching.